There are only two types of governments for mankind. There's either the Creator's system of rules, or Satan's many various forms of rules that disagree with the Father's laws, or that'd be called anti-rules if you really wanted to put them in a category, I guess, but there's no in-between rule system for those who, even in the least, believe in the God of the Bible. There's either the law system of the Father, which are the simple Ten Commandments and the biblical statutes and judgments that fall underneath their respective categories, or there is the law system of Satan, which is simply described by the Satanists as falling under one simple rule: do what thou wilt is the whole of the law, which means, in essence, to do whatever you want, so long as you don't follow the Father's rules. Or it might be like Satan saying, if you follow me, you can do anything you want to, and I won't chasten you, so long as you do whatever you want, because I like doing whatever I want too. So there's either the Father's rules or Satan's. Or again, you either obey the Father or you don't. It's pretty simple. Any rule system that has to deviate from the Father's is automatically something that somehow has to deviate from the Father's. Therefore, there's either the God of the Bible who said, obey me, or Satan who says, disobey that guy. So there's only two deities, two systems of law. If you're not following the Father's law, you're following the other deity's law system, which then makes them both theocracies. There's only two forms of governments. They're both theocracies. So when somebody says, following the Bible, that's a theocracy, don't let them scare you. You're either obeying the Father in heaven, or you're disobeying the Father. But man has forever dreamed of having his cake and eat it too, right? So where he's never ceased trying to invent new law systems for himself that would be accommodating, or at least exceptionally lenient in his own particular sin of choice, right? Especially the more with folks who have lots of sins of choices in their blackened hearts to hope to hold on to. You see, the Bible is a very well-orchestrated system of law that fits in perfectly with a wholesome lifestyle that was created for and hoped to be chosen by Him that designed us all. But those who are not happy with such clean lifestyles were more prone to try and rearrange things, to try and get the law systems to work in their favor. And since you can't just write a law system that says, disobey God, and expect people to come, it's not going to happen, because your sin of choice might not be the other person's sin of choice. In other words, if you like to murder people, and other people don't like to do that, very few people are going to come to your system of law and your kingdom. So you're going to have a minority of people, and which means you won't be able to defend yourself, because you'll be a minority. If you choose a law that says, I like to be a pedophile, of course, again, you're in a minority category. So if you choose a group of them, then of course you have to write them all down, and then of course then you have to worry about all the other people in your system doing those things against you, like thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not murder. You have to worry about them doing it against you if it's lawful to do such. The only way to achieve getting another government opposed to the Father's without actually writing it down, so that then you could protect yourself in the meantime against the peasantry who would want to do those things to you, then you have to write them in vague ways, using dual language systems, or legalese as we would call it today, or something even simpler, as they've done over the years, a very unwritten or an unspoken law system. Make it sound so nice on the surface that people just want to fall for it because it sounds nice. And of course, you haven't educated these people, and you're talking about peasantry who have grown up away from the law system education intentionally because you don't want them to know these things. So to pull them away from their education and to pull them into a system that sounds better is what usually happens. Well, anyway, having said all that, let's use an imaginary way of taking people back to the reality of what's going on today. So here you go. Let's imagine ourselves centuries ago. And we're in a system that's falling apart. It's falling away from the Father's law system. It's becoming chaotic because people are leaning into their sins of choice. And it's getting uncomfortable. It's turning into an oppressive regime. So you're off with your bags packed. You're heading for parts unknown. You don't know where you're going. And you're walking across continent after continent. And you finally see a kingdom ahead of you. It looks like a great palace. What a wonderful looking place to live. Now, it looks like it's hard to get to, though. But that's a good thing, because it means who could invade them? So you hunt around, you go from hillside to hillside, trying to find a way to get to this big mountain kingdom on the top of the hill, and you finally find a trail. So you run up this trail and you get there. Wow! I better be careful, though. Scope the place out a little bit. Alright, What's this all about? Who lives here? What are these people all about? Well, it can't be too bad because they built a really nice palace, and then, oh, you see a sign. What's it say? Common law? Common law, and there's nothing written down? I don't have rules to follow? How wonderful! It says I have to follow these rules, but they're not written down? Wow! How could you ask for anything better? Utopia! Wow! So what do? You run off looking for the gate. You find a couple guys that look pretty friendly at first, and oh, well, maybe they're not real friendly. Well, okay, so they have to be a little mean-looking, because they don't want intruders, right? You're going to want somebody mean-looking to protect the gates of your kingdom, so, okay, that works, all right. So you go up to them and you say, hey, how do I get in? How do I become a member of your kingdom? It sounds so good. Unwritten common law rules. It sounds so wonderful. And the guy at the gate says, well, you have to pay a hefty fee to get inside, though, because we're a strict system. We keep intruders out, and we keep it very peaceful and loving inside. Well, that sounds so good. All right, let me in, and we'll work out the deal when I get inside. How's that sound? Okay, so they let you in. You get inside, and the door slams behind you. Uh-oh. Now you're in. Now soldiers come up to you and approach you. Oh, you're new in town. Oh, you have to pay the entrance fee. So, of course, then you have to dig deep into your change pocket and pull out all the gold and silver coins that you need to pay these guys. They then set you up with a job and tell you where to go, and they set you up with new people to meet. At first, it sounds great. It looks wonderful. Until you start finding out that these unwritten laws were written to be unwritten so that only the king could tell you what to do whenever he feels like it. Because why? Well, there's unwritten rules. It's whatever the king and his friends feel that should be a rule that day. So eventually, you find out you're in a slave state that was worse than the one you left. One of the rules is, if you want to leave the kingdom, you have to pay 10 times what you had when you came in, which of course is basically impossible because they don't allow you to make any money while you're there. You barely get a potato and some soup every day to live on. So, this is one example. There's lots more out there like it. When people are confronting you with common law or natural law, unspoken laws, or unwritten laws, and you can look all this up. There's an article on our website that have a lot of these documented laws from Black's Law Dictionary, from Webster's and Blackstone's and what have you, explaining that yes, there are a lot of unwritten laws throughout history that were written in vague ways, even claiming to be unwritten, to do that very thing, so that only those at the elite positions of power and their judges below them in their courts know which way to make all their court decisions sway to benefit the system and not the peasantry. So don't be sucked into these things. Be real careful. The Father wrote all his down. In fact, he cast his commandments in stone as an example for us out of love. Those 10 commandments were given to us, cast in stone. It's his law of love, cast in stone to show us. They need to be written down because man has a tendency to want to deviate from them. The Father says, if you love me, keep my commandments. The Messiah said, if you love me, keep my commandments. I and the Father are one. His system of law is there out of his love for us so he can protect us, as a good king and a true Lord would do. It's up to us. Thanks for joining us. Hope this helps. Blessings to you all.